The hormonal symphony of a workout, unlocking natural testosterone boosts. Have you ever wondered how to safely optimize a workout to boost testosterone? The world of exercise science and male hormones is a fascinating one, with many avenues to explore. Today, Dr. Anna Good, a urologist and pelvic surgeon, will guide us through what is known about naturally boosting testosterone through exercise. The discussion will cover the physiological mechanisms of testosterone production, the optimal intensity and type of exercises, the strategic ordering of resistance versus endurance training, and the factors that can limit a man's ability to produce this vital hormone. This journey into the science of exercise and hormones begins with a fundamental question. How exactly is testosterone created within the body? Testosterone's origins and exercise's impact. The vast majority of a man's testosterone, about 95%, is produced in the testicles by specialized cells known as Leydig cells. The process begins in the brain, with the hypothalamus releasing gonadotropin-releasing hormone GnRH. This hormone then stimulates the pituitary gland, which in turn releases luteinizing hormone LH. LH is the direct signal to the Leydig cells, prompting them to synthesize and release testosterone. Once in the bloodstream, testosterone travels to various cells throughout the body, including muscle cells. Inside these cells, it binds to an androgen receptor, initiating a cascade of gene expression that produces proteins and other essential building blocks for the body. But how does the act of exercising itself lead to an increase in serum testosterone? When a person engages in exercise, the body releases both catabolic breakdown and anabolic buildup hormones. One of these anabolic hormones is testosterone. The increase in testosterone is believed to upregulate the expression of the androgen receptor, which then enhances protein synthesis and leads to muscle growth, a process known as hypertrophic adaptation. The key takeaway is that to achieve this hormonal boost, a certain threshold of metabolic demand or volume of work must be met. This brings up an important point. How does one optimize a workout for testosterone? The focus must be on intensity, sets, repetitions, and rest periods to truly unlock the body's full potential. Optimizing your workout for maximum hormonal gains. The primary focus for boosting testosterone is resistance training. The key terms to understand are intensity, which refers to the difficulty of the exercise, and the weight lifted repetition maximum, RM, which is the maximum weight one can lift for a defined number of movements and volume of work. A critical marker for testosterone, which includes the number of sets, repetitions, and intensity. For example, lifting a heavier weight for the same number of repetitions increases intensity, while performing more repetitions with the same weight increases volume. Studies have shown that workouts using a high intensity, such as 3 to 5 repetitions at a 100% of 6 Malaysian ringgits, or 5 sets of 10 repetitions at a 10 RM, lead to significant testosterone boosts. The takeaway here is to select the heaviest weight that can be lifted for the entire set to maximize the effect. While resistance training is the clear winner, what role does endurance training play? High-intensity endurance training, such as short bursts of 2 to 5 minutes at 90 to 100% of VO2 max, can lead to a short-term increase in testosterone. However, prolonged aerobic exercise and the associated stress can cause a release of cortisol, a hormone that inhibits testosterone production. This is why some elite endurance athletes may have lower baseline testosterone levels. The stress from their training creates a reactive oxygen species that can blunt the brain's signal to the testicles. The data clearly suggests that for a significant and lasting testosterone boost, resistance training is superior to endurance training. Small studies on high-intensity interval training height have also shown temporary improvements, but the hormonal boost often only lasts for a short period after the workout, with some studies showing effects up to 48 hours. This highlights that a single session of exercise is unlikely to provide a long-term, lasting increase in basal testosterone levels. When it comes to sets and repetitions, the volume of work is the most critical factor. By keeping the intensity high, the number of sets and repetitions can be adjusted to achieve the same total volume. But what about the concept of training to failure? A study involving 40 men found that those who trained without going to failure had greater gains in muscular power output, whereas those who went to failure showed larger gains in bench press repetitions. More importantly, the group that did not train to failure had lower cortisol concentrations, less stress, and higher testosterone levels. This suggests that pushing to the absolute limit may not be the optimal strategy for a hormonal boost. The type of resistance training also matters. Exercises that use large muscle groups are far more effective than those focusing on small muscle groups. For instance, a jump squat or Olympic lifts will produce a higher increase in testosterone than a bench press, as they engage the lower extremities and core. Furthermore, studies have shown that using free weights leads to a greater increase in testosterone than using machines. This is because free weights require the use of stabilizing muscles, such as the core, whereas machines are designed to isolate a specific muscle group. Finally, what about rest periods? A study analyzing workout parameters found that moderate intensity, higher volume, and shorter resting time 60 seconds versus 90 seconds led to a higher increase in plasma testosterone. So, to maximize the hormonal effect, it's beneficial to keep rest periods brief. If combining resistance and endurance training, the best approach is to start with resistance training to activate the large muscle groups and elevate testosterone, followed by endurance training to maintain that elevated hormonal level. Basal testosterone and limiting factors. A crucial question remains, does consistent exercise impact basal testosterone levels? The evidence is not entirely clear. While repeated resistance training sessions have consistently shown an increase in total testosterone after each bout of exercise, this does not seem to have a lasting effect on the resting basal level for most people. However, some studies, particularly in obese and older individuals, have shown a measurable increase in basal testosterone. The theory is that in overweight individuals, the exercise-induced weight and fat loss can also contribute to a hormonal boost. This suggests that to see a continued effect, the exercise must be consistently maintained. This is why the popular saying, "never skip leg day," holds some truth. The consistent high-volume work is what drives the hormonal response. There are also factors that can limit the ability to boost testosterone. Obesity can cause endothelial dysfunction and vasodilation, meaning the blood vessels that supply the testicles are not as efficient at transporting blood. While obese individuals still see a boost from exercise, it may not be as significant as in leaner individuals. Age is another major factor. A man's ability to produce testosterone peaks around age 40 and then declines by about 1 to 3% per year. The latex cells become less responsive to the signals from the brain, leading to a smaller hormonal response. However, regardless of age or weight, the evidence is clear. Resistance exercises using large muscle groups at a moderate to high intensity, with short rest periods and high volume, can produce increases in testosterone. So the next time you're looking for a boost, remember to focus on those compound movements and get moving.